Well, welcome to a new Harry's Garage video, and this is a bit of a special video because it's about the GR Yaris that we've had for 3 years, and my son Charlie is going to be joining me on this video.
Hello.
Hello, Charlie. Because you do most of the driving in this car, and a week ago you did
New GR Yaris launch. I went out to Lyon to go drive new GR Yaris.
Yeah.
Drove that one. I drove the 2 new special editions. That was first proper launch.
Which I can't wait to download, basically, Charlie's finding. And what is the difference, having had this for 3 years? What do you find new with the new one? We're going to go into details when we actually get in the car. But also, you've had 3 years driving around in this. I'm occasionally allowed to borrow it. Thank you very much.
Yes. 19,000 miles, really.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, just over 3 years.
And also, in that time, we visited Litchfield. Couldn't resist a couple of things.
Yeah.
We had the suspension kit, Nitron kit went on it quite
early days.
On. Yeah.
That was early days.
4 months, 5 months in, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then we've also done recently an engine tune. I drove that M2, couldn't believe the mapping on it. And I thought, Ian said, we've got a really good map for this. So we've had that done as well.
Yeah, it was a new map, but it was the OBD sort of flash to it. So
we'll get in it and show that, but it's got 3 stages basically, hasn't it? So you can have it absolutely standard, 95 octane, 99 octane, very clever. Mm-hmm. But I just think the 3 years, just looking at it first, it's amazing how it's held up, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Toyota, isn't it?
Yeah, one of the great things of buying a Toyota. We've just been all round it. We're trying to find a stone chip or two.
Yeah, not many.
No, there's one on the bonnet we can just see there.
Yeah.
But this seems to be unmarked, which is madness. The actual.
And I've spoken to paint shops who say colours like this are an absolute nightmare to try and match paint because it's sort of 3 different layers. And so it's a night. So just don't bump them in this colour because you'll never get a match. It
is actually an optional extra, wasn't it? It was £880, I think, for this colour. And the other thing we had done early doors was the bronze paint down.
Lamborghini colour, wasn't it?
It was, that's right. Lamborghini Huracan Performante colour, I think. They've done really well. I still like the look. And the great thing of doing the Litchfield, the Nitron handling kit, is you get adjustable spring platforms, isn't it?
Did we click it? We did.
Oh, I have changed the damper settings on it. I have clicked and got completely lost because it's like setting 12 out of 24 and you click a few down. Anyway, it had a reset when it went in the other day. But that's the downside. But the height of it does sit lower, and I can't remember how much it lowers.
25 mil.
25 mil, right.
Instead of 40. The original Nitron kit was a 40 mil drop.
It's a 40 mil drop, and we went for 25 mil drop. But it still has a stance to me. It's got slightly more negative in it. The handling details I think we ought to expand on when we go outside. But I think one of my frustrations with GR Yaris, you can only get it in, you had it in 3 kits, but you just ordered the circuit pack.
No, it was 2.
Was it 2
originally?
Comfort
or circuit.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things they changed for the new one.
Is it? Right, good. But the good thing with circuit pack, you've got the much lighter wheels, BBS wheels, that just look ace. But you also got the harder damper setting on it.
Oh, there were so many more different changes than just those.
It
was all the diffs, the brakes. There was a whole load of stuff
wasn't there?
Got changed.
Yeah, you just had to tick circuit. But I think for road, it was a little firm straight out the box, in my view. Right, let's have a look just around the back. What have you done around here? Not a lot. It all looks tidy.
Standard exhaust.
Yeah, still standard exhaust. I like the quietness. There it is. Still a van.
Still a van.
What's happened to the cover? Where's the cover gone, Charlie?
No, I've moved it, but
you haven't.
Those are grass clippings because I bought a cylinder mower.
Oh, have you now?
And because I've never found anything that doesn't fit in the back, so I was able to get that straight in the back of there.
You've done wheels in the back of there.
Yeah, I've done wheels. I've done wheelbarrows. I've done
wheelbarrows
skis.
Go in. Skis don't go in.
Yeah, skis go in there.
Good
I can
Lord.
get my skis in there.
Oh dear.
Yeah, you don't need a Defender 130.
You just have a GR Yaris. It's the answer to life. This is a suspension kit. I'm just looking.
Well, the original suspension.
This is all the original that we kept.
What's the date on it? Has it got a date?
Yeah, it has.
July.
Hey, July 21.
Well, yeah, 3 years ago.
3 years ago. Yeah, 2.5 £2,544 for parts and then plus fitting. But I went up, the one thing it did develop, wasn't it, that rattle, the rear suspension.
Yep.
So the rattle came in about 18 months and it sort of gradually got worse. And then at 2 and a bit years, we said, just enough.
Just needs to get it done.
And when I went up to Litchfield, I wasn't sure whether to book it into Toyota because it had obviously new dampers on the back. It changed them, and it's actually the top mount that was faulty, which is a Toyota part.
Yeah, I remember Ian saying that it was a Toyota thing. So it could have been done via warranty. And
I think it probably could, but it wasn't a very expensive part, so we had it changed. I sense it's going to come back though.
Yeah.
I think it is a weak point.
Yeah. Did he replace it like for like? They haven't updated.
Brand new. He actually just put new nitron dampers on the back. It was easier than, because they're all built up.
Yeah.
So he actually put new dampers on the back just for ease, because
Nitron, replacement parts.
Because we had early dampers. Nitron were quite keen just to see how they're faring up, because there's obviously a joint down here.
Yeah.
So they just wanted to see them. But the noise was from the top mount, and a little bit of body damage down here.
Bit of body damage,
which is the only bit on it.
No.
And we ought to have it done, but it's just a little bit there.
Escaped a deer, just a glancing blow. It was sort of very lucky, to be honest. But
tyres, we ought to mention tyres, haven't we?
Yeah.
Because they've been a bit of a problem.
A bit of a nightmare. Lots of GR Yaris owners complaining about them. I've been able to find 2, which are desperately needed for the front, but I couldn't find a full set of 4. When I took it in for the last service, Toyota, they said they don't have any and they can't get hold of any. And then they didn't want to fit them because they're very expensive rims. Yeah.
Even if they had tyres in stock, they wouldn't fit them.
Well, they said we don't like fitting them. Take them to someone else.
Right.
Which I thought was a bit, obscene.
And the reason why?
Expensive rims. They just don't want to touch them in case they damage them.
How much? Because there is a price. These are known, aren't they? How much the price?
£1,250 a wheel.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's on just the circuit pack.
Yeah.
If you got an early.
So I've got new ones on the front, but then I've got the guys who fitted the 2 front ones.
Yeah.
I've got a little alert with them to say when 2 more pop up into stock, I'll have them for the rears, because the rears are getting really low.
Wow.
And Derek phoned me up the other day and said we're still waiting.
We've
still got that's months.
And they're the same size. I should know.
Exactly the same size.
God, didn't know that. Let's have a look under the bonnet. And under there, I can't get over how tidy that is actually. For 3 years, 19,000 miles. You get an app with your Toyota, and it's quite useful at times like this because it actually gives your history. So if I look at history, we have done, vehicle delivery 11th of March 21. Then we had a first service 7th of September 21, 4,000 miles. Second service September 22, 9,000 miles. And then the last service was 16,000 miles on the 30th of November. Those are the services. We had a bit of a wobble, didn't we, on that 10,000 mile service, because it came back and it started to overheat, wasn't it?
Yes. No, but also remember very, very early days, I had that misfire.
Oh, very early.
Yeah, right, very early days. So I had that funny misfire. That was the first sort of car in the UK that they'd seen this issue. So they replaced some of the, I think it was one of the coil packs failing early doors, so they replaced it. Yeah. That was a very easy warranty job. But then had a bit of a grumble with the guys over at Listers in Cheltenham, the Toyota dealer. Because they'd gone and done a service and had some overheating issues. I was on the phone sitting outside and suddenly saw the temperature needle flick right up. Turn engine off, overheating, warning come up. And then got a bit cross with them and said, what's going on? And then, found that they'd disconnected one of the fan.
The main block that goes to the fans on the
connector.
Radiators, for whatever reason, during the service, had been disconnected, unbeknown to us, and we just watched the temperature. Engine nearly cook itself in traffic. But fortunately, we saw it before any damage was done. That's it, really, on outside. We ought to take it out for a drive, and then you can tell us all about the new GR Yaris.
I'm just trying to
Before we get going on the new GR Yaris, we ought to quickly say that sort of what we've learned over this are gripes and whether the new one improves it. So the quick list of gripes on this car for you.
Clutch waiting.
Really?
I just find myself feeling very clumsy at junctions and things like that. Sometimes there's just sort of doesn't feel like there's a lot of modulation to it. It feels very electronic or very light, and you don't know quite where the bite point is.
Toyota is always a sort of light clutch anyway. I would expect that. Really.
Yeah, but it's just one of those that you end up feeling a bit clumsy.
Right. Okay. I have road noise. Is one of mine with this. It never goes away. It's fairly constant. And you almost notice it more when there's two of you there, don't you? Because you crank the radio up or you're doing other things. Yeah. But two of you, it's noticeable.
Again, I don't think the audio as standard is great in here.
It's not punchy in any way.
Yeah.
No. But I do like that you can do CarPlay if you
well, that was a circuit pack thing, because you go and press, where is it, map on here, and it goes function not available.
Yeah, that was so odd, the bits they left off this car that people would have liked. Why don't they just do a list of things you could tick? But
do you think that's just a software thing?
You'd think, wouldn't it?
Like an aerial, I don't know, but it seems a very, very odd thing to miss out.
I'm intrigued there. That would tell us our MPG, because we've been always 28 MPG-ish, isn't it? 28 to 30. You have broken the barrier, haven't you?
No, but I would sort of disagree. I think on a run, I can do over 40 MPG in this.
Yes, you can, but in general use, that's what we've averaged over. That's quite a few miles, that one. If I go to home, it's around there, which is pretty good because we'll come on to performance in a minute. Any other gripes just while we're on those?
Steering sort of feels, I don't know, there are times where you sort of wish it felt a bit more connected.
The funny thing with this one is it's got the radar cruise and it's got lane assist, and therefore it's got electric steerings, which is very modern tech for when we first bought this car in 21. That was just coming in.
Well, then I don't want to talk quite all the positives just yet, because you had some drawbacks.
I'm a bit miffed. I think that suspension knob's coming back. It looks like those top mounts are a weak point on it, which is very unusual. Being a Toyota, I never thought we'd get niggles like that, but they seem to be there. I think it's time to start talking about the new car, though, what it improves and what you found out on the launch. Yeah. So as soon as you step in, what do you notice?
Well, it was before you step in, really. There were quite a few exterior sort of differences. The big one, which I thought, we all thought was a bit weird, was the lack of Toyota badge on the boot lid.
Oh,
They've got rid of it.
They got rid of the Toyota badge.
There's no Toyota badge on the back.
That's strange.
Very odd. Different front grille, so they've changed it. So you get this intercooler for the automatic transmission one. So there's a vent down there, or a radiator grille.
What, an additional grille?
For when you get the automatic. Yeah, for the auto. Which again, another change, isn't it? You can now order in an automatic.
What sort of auto is it?
It's an 8-speed automatic.
Not dual clutch?
No, it's not a dual clutch. That was one of the, we'll get onto automatic gearboxes and things like that. Other changes. They sort of listen to their motorsport and their rally guys, who sort of I couldn't quite work out whether in Japan they go off and do rallies in these cars. Yeah. And they found that it would be far better if they could segment their front grille. So they're made up of like a few different pieces. So if a piece breaks, you can just replace that instead of having to do the whole front grille. Right. Oh, a big thing actually, they've changed the front grille. So from being a plastic front grille, it's now metal mesh. So you don't get stones breaking it and things like that if you are doing any sort of rally in it.
We haven't been trying hard enough, obviously.
No.
We've had 3 years.
No, there were quite a few things. It was like, bloody hell, those Japanese guys must be driving bloody hard if they're having to make these
breaking this stuff.
Yeah, because when we were there, they had some broken pistons.
God.
Where they'd really been trying to push these things to the absolute limit, because their whole thing is like drive it, break it, fix it, and update. And
well, they managed to break pistons on standard GR. Or do you think they're tweaked rally ones?
I think it's got to be tweaked. There's no way they could have done that from standard.
No,
but it was impressive.
And there's a change at the rear, isn't there? A wing or rear boot lid.
Yeah, well, that was the thing with their rear boot lids, is they're massively into their aftermarket guys. Yeah. So they've changed it. So they've moved the rear brake light sort of out of the spoiler, so then you can get different spoiler mods and things like that for it.
Much easier to change the rear spoiler.
Much easier.
Right. Okay. And then you stepped inside, and what did you notice then?
It felt a lot more grown up. That was the sort of difference coming from this. That I do prefer the old school dials, because the new one went full digital dash.
Oh, yes.
It was full digital, and you've got this sort of slightly Mark IV Supra, what do they call it? Driver focus interior.
Yeah.
They had a name for it. And they were very pleased that they were able to drop the screen by 50mm, because that was a big gripe they said from Toyota customers or GR owners, was that this was too high and this was too low. So they've dropped the screen by 50mm and upped the mirror by 20mm to give you a more panoramic view.
Right.
Out. But I don't find this too offensive. It's not. It doesn't sit above the line that you can see out.
You're seeing where the wipers are, the bottom of the windscreen.
Yeah.
Above that isn't actually obscuring road.
No.
I'm sitting very high because the passenger seat doesn't go up and down.
And it doesn't go up and down on the new one. I checked because that was a weird gripe. Whenever I've sat in the passenger seat of this, I think, why are you?
Yeah.
And that was again on the new one. They've dropped the driver's seat by 25mm, which, to be honest, it's one of those things. It just feels like a journalist complaint that you'd get in from being in something else.
Yes.
And go, wow, the seat's too high. That Clio Trophy, the seat's too high in that. But once you're in it for 5 minutes, you get used to it.
I never found it offensive, the seat. It's a bit bulky, a bit big, the seat, you think, for this crazy sports car. We did do the mirror mod on this car, though, and that made a pretty big difference.
Yeah, but the new one, that does feel up here. They've sort of mounted it, been able to do it from up there. Right. But it's all different here. So you've got start button up here, you've got hazards up here. You lose this. You lose a place to fit your phone.
That is odd, isn't it?
They've made this space a bit bigger.
Right.
It's again like a little thing, but it's USB-C.
Right. Only. Right.
But I don't know whether it's coming to the UK or if it's a option. But one cool thing that they had on the press cards was the IC spray. You've got an intercooler water spray, which was quite a cool thing to see again.
I haven't seen that since Subaru days.
Oh, and you could hear it post being on track. Yeah. If you had it pressed, you'd come back into the pits, and all you could hear was this sort of hissing, and it was like doing like a little motor. You could hear a little water pump going towards the back of the car, and I was like, that's quite cool. But yeah, big change on the inside. A few little sad bits. They've lost their little GRWRC badge. That's gone. And they've moved a few buttons from here, so there's no auto stop start anymore. Your IMT, if you've got manual moves to up here. And then this gets sort of a bit busy because on the new one you have flickable drive modes, which is different to the knob. So the drive modes have an impact on like your accelerator response, and they've also now added different weighting to the power steering. So you can have it in a race or a sport mode, and it stiffens up or firms up the power steering.
So you can do that sort of individual setting type of thing. But there isn't like an M button that just says your setting. You have to go through everything.
There is like an individual that you can configure, but it's not like a button on the wheel that you can press. It's down there, which is then different to because then that's just a four-wheel drive controller. So then that does your electric diffs and things like that. So that was the big change.
One thing I've always thought is the quality of the leather on the wheel's really nice on this.
Yeah.
Is it the same?
The same thing.
Exactly the same.
Same skinny wheel, which I really like.
Right.
Sort of very, very minor change. They've sort of changed the adaptive cruise control button, so it's now a bit of a rocker here to flick between. I think they've added normal cruise control on it as well now, but everything else stays the same.
Right. Well, we've done 5-6 miles now, and we've noticed a bit bumpy this road. Would I have noticed a difference when immediately getting in the new one?
Yeah, no, I think there's a ride quality difference. Even though they've stiffened up the springs, the damping seems really, really well done. So I do think that you notice it, and it does seem a lot quieter.
Oh, is it?
It does seem a lot quieter.
And it's still on Michelin?
Yep, still on the same rubber, same wheels. It's exactly the same, really. I think it's all the same shocks and stuff like that. Well, they must have changed something, but it's all the same underneath.
And you said they had a huge number of tyres.
Yeah, chamois. I don't know. I was so envious. I wish I could, stick two in my hand luggage and bring them home.
Yeah. Oh dear.
And then automatic gearbox as well. That was a big change, because that was one of the gripes of having driven this through central London a few times. It is a bit annoying in stop-start traffic.
Yeah, it is. And yeah, I found that with the Emira every now and then. I really wanted that to have a paddle shift.
I want to get home or something like that. I don't want to have to keep sort of. I don't know, it's the, sort of the mechanical sympathy in me. It's like I feel I don't need to be wasting clutch doing this.
Yeah. Performance-wise, did you notice those extra horsepower?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it definitely felt a bump over the standard car. But not quite where we are with this now.
We ought to describe that now, bringing off new Yaris. The Litchfield mods, you went along there, and it's a really clever system because, you get these 3 maps, don't you, that you control.
I press the cancel button, and then I can flick through, but mode 3, 2, or 1.
Right.
And 1 being the full 320 brake at 99 octane. And then 2 is a 95 octane map. And then mode 3 is a standard, the 261 brake horsepower.
We haven't got much of a stretch. Can you just slow down and just so we can go through second gear in new mode?
Well, you sort of feel it past 4,000 RPM. Sort of from here, it sort of feels a lot quicker.
When I've driven this after the mod, it feels, which is
sort of
exciting.
It's sort of grown up fast.
It's like when I get in the Project A, you think, God, it's quick. And now this is that sort of same sort of feeling.
You sort of feel it after 4,000 RPM. It's the mid-range that it really, really has made a big, big difference to.
You notice it actually more in the higher gears than the lower gears. And that's still the mad noise. It champs on, doesn't it, with a mod? I think I would absolutely do it. And I love that we can just put it down to a standard map. It's Charlie and I know how to put it into mad map, should we say.
But that was the thing, when I was there, he was saying you just leave, if you've got someone that you don't really know driving your car, you can just flick it back into normal mode, so they're not going to do anything silly. It's almost like a valet mode.
It's so useful. And also, from what you were saying out of Toyota, they almost expect us to mod these cars, don't they?
Yeah, no, they know that everything gets changed. All the suspension's going to get done. It's a bit of a shame when people start doing the wheels, I think, because they're chuffing expensive wheels for what they are.
These are cracking wheels. These are as good as you could ever want. Yeah, I did like the rally look when they had those
OZs.
But they're white, and the amount of brake dust we get, it's just driving you nuts. These just bang on.
No, but they fully expect all the engine mods, the circuit time attack cars, to the rally stuff, and
they love it then.
Yeah, absolutely in for it. So the Japanese also, the Japanese market gets a proper sort of drift handbrake. That's an option, so you can have one.
That's an option in the dealer. God. One thing that has changed, obviously, is price, isn't it, on the new one? I've got the prices here. So GR Yaris with intelligent manual, £44,250. So quite a lot more than this. I looked this one up, and with circuit pack and the red paint, this was 35,000 on the road. So it's gone up 10,000.
What's the difference between the new one, the manual, versus the auto? How much is the
auto? Is an additional £1,500. It's 45,750. So it's not a big rise. So that might be the one to have, because it's so different to this in a way.
Speaking to the development guys, they were expecting more of the modern guys to go for the manual box. Just it's easier for mapping and things like that. But also the auto, it only really came alive to me when on circuit. I found it a bit delayed. There were times where it'd hold on to gears and things like that, and you'd want to change it. I know that's probably a pre-production car or something.
It's odd that it's an actual auto rather than dual clutch to me, even though it's small, isn't it?
Yeah, but you were trying to change gears when it was sort of sitting high, and it wouldn't let you, and it felt
a bit like the Emira then.
Yeah, it felt a bit clumsy at times. But I'm sure this will all come out when you do full review of new one when it arrives in the UK.
What else from the driving did you find? Anything others you want to add?
They had added a stronger spring actually on the clutch. So they had made it slightly heavier.
Oh right.
Which was a niche little detail, but I think the development guys, they'd flown one of the chaps from Japan over who was sort of quite high up in the development of it. They were so chuffed about the seat. I think that there must have been a lot behind the scenes to get that to change.
A lot of engineering.
A lot of engineering to get that to change, because the amount of extra spot welds they'd done and more adhesive that they'd used for bonding panels together, it really sort of stiffened everything up. So they must have changed something. And they're going to be building a lot less of them. Was the other thing. Yeah, they said they were only going to be building a few thousand a year, which I think is quite a lot less than.
Well, they did 25,000 they were going to do, they announced. I don't know how many more they did, so they didn't give a number.
No, they never gave a number.
No, but they are going to be rarer then.
Yeah.
Well, they probably didn't imagine how long we don't know how long it's going to live, but they didn't give an indication. It's not a one-year wonder, is it? No. It'll be a few years.
Well, that was also the other thing is they had their hydrogen car there, the Hydrogen Yaris, which they're going to have at Goodwood Festival Speed.
Oh, good. Oh,
so they're going to have the new one, the hydrogen one, and their Rally 2, which sort of to me looked like a sort of almost a privateer rally version of the WRC car.
I noticed there is special editions, £60,000 special editions, aren't there?
Yeah.
So that's those, is it?
No. This is a full. Edition. This is like an X-Works, full proper job.
The power right is 20 horsepower. Actually, this is 320. Put it on the dyno, didn't it? It was 320. I can't remember what the torque number is, but there is proper wallop, and I love that nothing's really changed. But you just think this is very naughty now when you wound it up.
Quick.
Yeah. We drive some quick stuff, but it feels quick, and always with this car, the brakes are outstanding. I don't feel I have to change everything because I've got more power.
I think that was a circuit pack thing as well. The bigger brakes.
Right, and they are
stonking. Proper.
They're just as good as you could ever wish for. So, did you come away from the launch saying, "Oh my God, we've got to order this"?
So hard. I think if you've got one of these and you drive it and you know what it's about, you wouldn't feel the need to go and upgrade unless you wanted the auto to do track work, because that was really good on track. They'd mapped it really, really well. The sort of PDK-ness of it, when it's changing gears at exactly the right time. They'd obviously spent a lot of time mapping it and getting that right. So tracking it.
What about the fact that this is slightly inert? I haven't got the balance change. I don't notice the change when the dips. Was that different? Was that something on the new one that I noticed? The balance, you could more rear drive it, you could feel the
No, because it's all the same as... They changed basically down here, so you've now got a sport and a gravel mode. Yeah. So it's not a track anymore. This is now 70 front, 30 rear, because we're just driving it normal. Yeah. In sport, then this becomes 70 front, 30 rear, and then in track it's 50-50. In the sport mode, 40 front, 60 rear, and then in gravel, it's sort of a 50-50 changing split. So it's sort of about 54-46-ish, but I think it changes.
But you as a driver, did you notice it more than this car? It's pretty marginal, isn't it? You think it should make more change to your sense when you're driving this car than it actually does.
But I did drive that mostly in the sport mode.
Okay.
And you did notice a little bit, but it's not much. It's just a bit of traction control flicking from time to time.
So auto then just offers something more, especially on track, because you keep it in the zone.
But then it depends how much track driving you're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know, if you're living with it, you'd probably find it a bit annoying at times. But I find driving a manual a bit annoying at times as well. So,
How many track days have you done in this?
No, just one.
Just
that Goodwood one.
Yeah. Which, it's a shame it wasn't wet, because I think that's when it would really start, wouldn't it? It would be a bit of a giggle.
But it just looks after you. I had an instructor and she was a drift, but I don't know, that was her thing, her specialty. And she said, this thing absolutely looks after you. It flatters you and makes you look a far better driver.
Right, that's good. So, are we going to change it to the new one?
Don't think so. It felt very grown up, and things like the infotainment system, there's no lag and it feels sort of more grown up. Wireless CarPlay, great. It's It's got upgraded sound system. It's a JBL audio sound system.
Yeah.
Sounds great, really, really good. If you hadn't had one and you were on the wait list, then that's perfect.
It's
like you're
great.
going to walk into the Gen2 Yaris sort of feeling quite smug, but I don't know whether it's worth the extra. I don't know. For this, it'd be 15-ish.
It would be 15 for us
probably
to change
to
into
get
it,
in,
wouldn't it?
which is 50% of the value, and I don't think it's worth that.
I think the great thing now, this is 3 years old, we've added a couple of mods, we've done the suspension, we've now done the engine. We're ready to enjoy this
100%.
for another few years.
Yeah.
We're very, very happy having a Yaris sat outside.
I do not feel shortchanged.
No. So I think it's great that it lives on, because there was a time when we thought it was going to stop.
Yeah.
But thank goodness it lives on. Toyota's winner. We're winners as customers.
But that's just, that I just want to say, like, I'm not poo-pooing the new one at all.
No.
It is a better car than this, hands down. It is.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't think a big enough. It's just another evolution, isn't it? It's an evolution, not a revolution.
Yeah.
Like people get the new Range Rover because it's the new one.
It's the new one.
But is it that much better than the last one? Well, it depends, doesn't it? Depends what you want it for.
What you want it for. Well, there you go. Thanks for the debrief. Yeah, thank you for going on the launch for me. Very kind.
Yes, no problem. While you were off on holiday enjoying yourself.
I know. Yeah, there you go. But hopefully we'll do a few more father and son reviews like this. So if you did enjoy this one, keep watching, keep driving. More videos coming along very soon.